Welcome to the July 27th, 2017 episode of Reactive Consciousness, our in-depth podcast about what happened this week in pop culture. I am your host, Lotus Prince, and this is...
PyroJackFrost.
And Mr. Ryu45.
Whoa!
Ryu.
Once again, back from being fired and back from just not having been here in an even longer while. Oh my goodness. So, we definitely have an interesting show to talk about this week. The first thing I think we can just jump right into is a sort of follow-up of what we discussed in the Corrective Consciousness. Yeah, we had talked about Evo regarding the actual tournament, but there was also a lot of hype, even in the form of commercials and trailers, to be had. Mr. Ryu, can you tell us about any of that stuff?
Okay, so right after the BlazBlue grand finals, they teased a lot of cool things. I guess if you're a BlazBlue player, it's really cool, but there's this one character that fans have been waiting for to be a playable character for ever since the first BlazBlue. That's actually finally making a playable appearance in the newest update.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's Jubei. If you follow BlazBlue, I mean I don't, but
no, I haven't. But I just think it's cool how it's been so long.
Yeah, and people were
BlazBlue
not
first came out
expecting that.
Finally.
Yeah, I remember thinking it was cool enough when Kokonoe and Rachel's butler became playable. I don't remember Jubei, though.
Don't you mean Chip's enough?
Chip's enough.
Oh,
enough
clever.
Enough.
But no, it's been a while since I've seen the original BlazBlue, so I'm afraid I'm not familiar with Jubei.
He's a reoccurring character. He's one of the 6 heroes or 12 heroes? I forget. But he's one of the heroes.
So the other characters were too.
Yeah.
Is he a traditional old-style samurai? Because that's every Jubei.
He's a cat person.
Oh, okay. I was way off.
Yeah,
okay.
he's the cat person with the hoodie, if you remember any
close.
of that.
Let's say you're close.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So he's announced. And then right after that, ArcSys released a trailer for a new game, which everyone's minds were blown.
That was insane.
My mind is blown.
Yeah, because
it's Persona.
Yeah. So it was BlazBlue, so it's oh, new BlazBlue? And then all of a sudden, two other fighters from Persona 4 Arena and the other fighting game, which you probably never heard of, is Birth Under Night, EXE or Uniel. Wait, whatever. Under Night in Birth. That's right. It's just a weird, typical Japanese titles. What does this mean? But yeah, it's just what? And then at the
end, to make it even better, is at the end of it.
At the end of it, it was hey, this looks fun. It's Ruby Rose from RWBY Ruby. It's just it makes an appearance, and everyone's ah! In the audience.
Yeah, it was great because I didn't actually watch just the trailer. I saw some cell phone footage of the audience watching the trailer. So when the Persona characters came in, the audience really started flipping out. Then when that Under Night characters came in, I think Under Night came in first. People started cheering oh, the niche crowd gets that reference. Then Persona characters came in, the audience cheered even louder, and then they just flipped when Ruby showed up because it's a freaking four-way fighting game crossover. And Ruby characters actually I think would lend very well to an ArcSys Works fighting game.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So,
I remember
I think that
Monty
blew a lot of people's minds.
Okay,
was the other characters in this trailer were from their other 2D fighting games, so they might have been. It's not they need to do much work, let's say, to put them in, but then the fact that they released new characters from a series that I don't think there have been many games for, and I know it has a huge following, so.
Yeah, and Mr. Lee, what were you saying?
Okay, well, before I was rudely interrupted.
Actually, I started talking first, so.
No. Anyways.
Guys, you
so
both
anyways I'm not really too big into Ruby, but I am aware of what Monty Ohm kind of wanted, but he would he really wanted Ruby to be a fighting game, so yeah, he would have liked that.
I actually do watch Ruby, and it's a lot of fun. I'm actually rather hyped about the upcoming new season. I think in October, because Ruby was one of those shows where season 1 was kind of generic anime with cool character designs. It was just cool that it was being made like in America. It's like, whoa, this is kind of like my Japanese anime.
Except it was like to me, it was like a generic like Miku Miku dance like show. I'm just like, oh, okay, it's just like something just made in Miku Miku dance.
Yeah, it kind of was.
The models were like just, I guess.
Yeah, the original ones were.
Yeah. Like season 2 picked up, but then it got like more and more serious, and there was more of an actual plot going on rather than good guy fighting bad guy. Like there's more like depth, and the animation improved over time. They get professional like voice actors now. Like the quality's just steadily been improving, so it's really cool to see how far it's come.
Actually, I wonder if they would be interested in like making like a kind of like do-over of like season 1 with like the higher quality stuff.
Ruby season 1 Kiwami.
Yes. Kiwami.
Yes.
Or HD remix.
Yes.
And let's see, after that was Smash. No, it was Tekken 7. Now, as we were talking about,
Geese.
it was announced.
I love Geese.
Geese Howard. I was actually like curious how like Evo reacted, and oh boy, God, everyone was losing their like their crap.
Their collective minds.
Yeah, they're like, ah.
Because what's really cool is that Tekken has shown so much respect for Akuma from Street Fighter to the point where he's integrated not even as a DLC character, like he's in the main storyline. So Geese obviously is coming out after the story's over. You know, he is like a new character, but I'm sure they'll show him just as much respect as well. I would love to see Geese interact with honestly with Heihachi or Akuma. Like he's interacted with Akuma before in Capcom versus SNK 2, but like an actual like real interaction would be interesting. And definitely he's doing it with Heihachi, and they're both asshole crime lords.
Oh yeah,
cool,
it's like all the bosses want in on Heihachi.
Well, I don't know what Geese is doing. I thought he only wanted to rule Southtown.
No, he wants to rule the world. It's too big for Mishima to control.
It's so stupid. I also love that everything with the Mishimas is like robots and like high-powered fighters and machine guns, and like Geese is a guy who is really good at martial arts, and he's just like, no, I'll just that's the thing. Like martial arts trumps everything. Like if you're good at martial arts, you're just one-hit KOing like millions of Jack clones.
Like,
and just,
in the opening of Tekken 7,
was like Akuma.
It's just like G Corp, where you're like, it's just like, it's like Heihachi's like, hey, what's up? And they're just all pointing like assault rifles at him and shooting him, and it's not effective. It just kicks like rockets back at them.
Stupid.
It's just like, okay, well, and then they just come down and fight them hand to hand. I was like, what are you thinking?
Yeah, if bullets don't work, what is your piddly little punch gonna do? Like if your punch was, if you were that confident in it, you would have opened with that. Like bullets are weak. Bullets are meaningless in Tekken 7 unless you equip that to your character, because you could apparently do that.
Remember Tekken 5? There's like, Heihachi is dead. No, he's not. He survived that gigantic ass explosion. It's just like, what?
That is true. Like 6 Jacks jumped on him and self-destructed, and he walked away from that. So like, what the hell do you think you're gonna do? and then Akuma beats him in a fight. It's like, what?
And he was like, disappointing. It's like, what?
It's amazing.
Oh, dude, later on, like one of the bonus like story fights is like Devil Jin versus Shin Akuma, and apparently like Shin Akuma is like the most BS thing like ever.
Well, yeah, like the most hype I've ever seen in terms of just Capcom like ego stroking has got to have been Asura versus Oni Akuma, because that fight was the stupidest, most glorious thing. So I would love to see this with like Tekken, because Tekken's cutscenes are always freaking gorgeous.
Oh yeah,
and Akuma versus Heihachi was awesome. So I really want to see Shin Akuma versus Devil Jin, because that's got to be something else entirely.
Oh yeah, and they have like also story rage arts, so like it's like specific to.
Oh, I'm so hyped.
Yeah.
I want to see you continue that actually, because the last I saw you play the story, it was just the Akuma Heihachi fight. Also, I think I mentioned this before, but I love when Heihachi meets Akuma, and he's like, "Who sent you?" And he's like, "Your wife." And he's like, "My wife? She died in like Tekken 1 in like the early 2000s, like when the game came out in the early 2000s. Like that doesn't even begin to make sense. Like, why would you come here now? How slow are you?" And Akuma's like, "I wanted to wait for you to get stronger." It's like, what? Like, are you kidding me? He's been the boss of 6 games. Not good enough. But one thing I really get a kick out of is when SNK introduced Geese as a DLC character for King of Fighters 14.
Oh no, he's a staple character of 14.
Oh, he was staple? Sorry. Then it was a later trailer for KOF 14. What was funny is that they're aware of the sort of meme quality of some of his moves, like so that they showed him countering like like 7 different characters in a row, just punching him, and he throws them and going predictable. So the trailer is just doing like predictable, and it's kind of funny by itself. Like SNK is just making fun of itself. But with Tekken 7 at Evo, the trailer for Geese kind of did the same thing, where they just kind of did a quick cut where it was like predictable. It was amazing. Like, I just love that just everybody gets in on that.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, like his like voice lines, like, you know, before the fight and after the fight are just perfect English. But like when he fights his English, he's like J.A.K. It's like, now die.
Too easy.
It's like too easy. Predictable. J.A.K.
Oh, actually, here's a question. Does he still? I don't know if you've seen enough. Like, I don't know if the trailer does this, but does he still do the "You cannot escape from death"? Like, is that in?
No, it was not in the trailer.
English, or is that in like Japanese English?
No, he doesn't say that.
Ah, too bad.
He's like, give in to your fears.
Like SNK2.
And also, like, people who are whining, part of the trailer it says like whiners be gone. People in like YouTube comments are like people not liking Geese is like, whiners be gone. It's just like
that's amazing. Raising Star.
Okay, and then now for the final like DLC character announcement trailer for Street Fighter V before the top 8. Oh my god!
This got shit on so much.
Oh, there's so much backlash with this. It was like Abigail, you know, that boss from Final Fight that like no one remembers.
I didn't even recognize the name, and I mean, it was back in college where I just emulated them, but I played through all 3 Final Fights. Like, I don't remember Abigail at all.
Well, to be fair, like when they added Sodom and Rolento, I was like, who the hell are these characters? But now they became staple Street Fighter characters.
My first, like I only knew about Rolento from like Capcom versus SNK 2 and Sodom. I don't even remember where I first met him, because I have like 0 experience with Street Fighter Alpha. I must have seen him in some crossover game, or maybe even like that goofy cameo appearance in like Street Fighter Alpha the movie or something.
Yeah.
I barely knew Sodom, so I guess that's fair enough. Rolento I saw in like crossover games.
Yeah. But anyways, when people saw the character model, everyone's like, "What the hell?" Because like it looks
he's
really
way bigger than Hugo.
So big. And people were like, "Look, it's a Bobo from Double Dragon."
Pretty much. Like the thing is, Hugo, if you remember Hugo, he was a Final Fight character, and his gimmick is that he's stupidly large. And like every cutscene or ending he has is him doing something that makes no sense. Like one of his endings in Street Fighter 3 was it was like this big wrestling ring. Like, who's gonna be the biggest badass wrestler? And like all these wrestlers were on the ring. Like, oh man, I can't wait to see how they divvy us up. Who's gonna fight whom? And then Hugo is like underneath the ring, and he just lifts the ring with everyone on it. And they're like, what? And like and in Street Fighter Cross Tekken, you see like Marduk, who's like the big brute of the Tekken games, and you see Hugo just run in, and Marduk's like, that's big. And like Hugo just like knocks over like a lookout tower. It's like, oh god, Abigail is way bigger than Hugo. Like, it's like, I mean, I know that it's a video game character, but like it's like a cartoon. It's like, what?
Well, to be fair, Street Fighter is like cartoony, but like it's just like, what the heck is this?
Ridiculous.
And then like his intro is like what also triggered people, because she was like going in like pretending to be driving, going vroom vroom vroom.
Yeah, that was real.
And then
I gotta say that was the part that lost me. Like, I didn't mind his moveset, I didn't mind his design. It was goofy, but I thought they were doing it on purpose. But that intro, I was like, no respect.
Oh my gosh, the YouTube like negative like dislikes is pretty funny.
Oh man, it's brutal. He looks interesting, but like,
oh, I saw gameplay of him. He looks fun to play, but it's just like, what?
What I love is how he's so stupidly big that all of his moves are like half-hearted hits. Like, his throw is like he grabs you and then like flicks you with a finger, because I guess if he actually punched you, then you would just take your head off.
Oh, like, his other throw is he just like throws you in the ground, just like walks over you and kicks you. It's just like boom, boom.
What an
boom.
asshole.
It's just like, ow.
Now, one of my favorite YouTube comments, I mentioned this to you, Mr. Ryu, was like, someone posted like, whoever can cross up Abigail just immediately qualifies in the Capcom Cup. He takes up like half the screen. It's like, he was like that nobody's gonna get this, but he was like the second to last boss in Tobal number 1, where his whole gimmick is just that he's big. Like, in Tobal number 1, his moveset kind of sucked, but because he can hit anywhere on the screen because he's so stupidly big, it's like, well, he's unbeatable. Like, Abigail just looks like that. He's, like, really, really, really big. Like, he actually reaches the top of the screen, which or almost the top, which makes no sense. Like even for Street Fighter,
Yeah.
it's kind of amazing. And from a design perspective, I actually respect that a lot because it's like you've never seen this before. Like, what do you do about it? But like, I really can't get past that vroom vroom like putting out his foot and like pressing invisible brakes. I'm like, for God's sake, Abigail, like relax.
So
I know that Final Fight thugs are like really stupid, but like, oh man.
Yeah, so his whole story is that his monster truck is missing and he's looking for it. It's just like goofy. It's just like
that I totally get behind.
yeah,
That's funny.
I like that because like I like when they like announce goofy characters for Street Fighter because like when Hakan, the Turkish oil wrestler, was announced, I was like, this is the best character ever made. And then there was like all these salty people. All these salty people going like, well, why can't Street Fighter have some serious characters? I'm just like,
yeah, but then when Hakan was like in the finals in Evo, everybody was mimicking that motion where he pours oil on himself because they were getting super hype when the guy, because a good Hakan player is terrifying.
Oh yeah, Hakan's
so
dangerous.
It's like really
in the
fun
hands.
to see him. But like one thing I love about the Final Fight characters in Street Fighter is that they retain their old, really 90s gangster trashy appearance. Like Poison's got that like horse crop and like the cop hat, like the sexy cop hat, and like Abigail's got the stupid like spiked wristbands, like
he has tires on his arm.
That's amazing.
I wonder how much of it is keeping it for nostalgia's sake, and also keeping it just because that is what they feel like the only thing people would recognize them from.
Well, the thing is though, like a lot of. With Season 2 Street Fighter characters, like, they've been introducing some just outright new characters.
No, like, all of them are new except for Akuma.
Yeah, and like, even Abigail, though, like... I mean, again, this might be an unfair question, because I was a Genesis kid and not a Super Nintendo kid, but, like, who remembers Abigail? Like, I kind of remembered Hugo, like, the Andre...
I remember Hugo only when he was introduced, like...
Andre the Giant.
I only remember Hugo because he was introduced on Street Fighter 3, like, Second Impact. But otherwise, like, I wouldn't have remembered like most of the Final Fight, like, you know, enemies and bosses.
Like, I kind of remembered Hugo as Andre, and like Poison a little bit. She was like the female opponent, along with like Palette Swap Roxy.
Well, except like in America,
Rolento, I don't think I would have known though.
Well, except in America, they replaced it like the male model because like hey,
that is true.
You can't beat up women.
Yeah, that's true. Even though you totally can in Streets of Rage 1, so like, alright. Actually, and 2. Actually, all Streets of Rage games for that matter. So apparently you only sometimes... You know what that reminds me of? It's like, you know... Have you heard of the game Run Like Hell? Mr. Ryu, I know you have. Pyro, have you heard of Run Like Hell?
Yes, I have.
Okay, here's the stupid thing about that game. Not about the game itself.
The name?
But... No, well, kind of. Because the game's called Run Like Hell. But the Xbox version, they wanted to, like, tone it down. So on the box, it's RLH. But it's like...
Mm-hmm.
But if you go shopping, if you just look 5 feet over that way, you'll see the same damn game on the PS2 shelf called Run Like Hell. So what the hell are you hiding? Like, what are you even doing? You know, it's like Final Fight. You can't beat up women, but, like... But this game that came out at the same time, you totally can. It's like, what are you... Like, what message are you sending? And, like, Mortal Kombat 1... Mortal Kombat.
I'm pretty sure it has less to do with the company who made the game, more of the company who owns the console they're selling it on.
Yeah.
No, that is probably it, because like Mortal Kombat 2 was like heavily censored in Super Nintendo and not at all on Genesis, and it's like, what?
Thanks, Nintendo.
Yeah.
Babby console.
Yeah. and then No More Heroes is a Wii exclusive. What?
And Mad World 2. Mad World.
What?
Mad World.
Yeah, Mad World and Manhunt 2. Manhunt 2 is fucking gruesome. And it's like, Nintendo's like, yeah, I'll take it. Alright. Guess they've changed their tune.
But Nintendo always makes interesting choices.
They do. For better or worse, like, they're definitely noteworthy. So, other than that, was there any other information about Evo? Because I
Ultimate
saw a little bit this year.
Oh, okay, so, like, Ultimate Marvel... No, Marvel's Capcom Infinite.
Oh, yeah! That's right.
It's just like,
hey, that's more characters, right?
Yeah, it's just like, oh look, Jeddah was here. Oh my god! It's just like, hey, people will remember, like, you know, the whole like, hey, we're not including X-Men because no one remembers them. Although it's like a poorly like.
I think.
Yeah, that's a thinly veiled excuse for X-Men or Fox and Marvel is Disney at this point. But like, no one remembers the X-Men. Like the incredibly high high popularity, high grossing Logan just came out. They've been continually producing X-Men movies. They relatively recently released Marvel vs. Capcom 3 with the DLC on PS4. Like, oh, but nobody knows the X-Men. Let's bring out fucking Jedha from Darkstalkers. I mean, they've been re-releasing Darkstalkers, but there hasn't been a new actual Darkstalkers entry since the PS1. Yeah. Jedha,
and I feel
really?
Like either way, the people that, at least that I remember from Darkstalkers, is mainly just
Morgan.
I forgot her name actually.
Morgan.
So
like really Felicia, Morgan, and Dimitri.
Felicia and Morgan, yeah. Like those are really the two I think of when I think of Darkstalkers.
Well, they're the ones that really push, and to a degree,
yeah.
Dimitri. Now with Jedha, I was told that he was in Project Cross Zone. But on one hand, like, that's not,
it's
a PS4, Xbox
game,
One.
That's a niche game anyway.
That's a niche game on the 3DS. So, like, that's the last time we've seen Jedha. Like, I actually had no idea who Jedha was. Like, I'm not, like, I don't follow Darkstalkers, but, like, I did not recognize the name at all. And everyone's like, oh, Jedha! Like, the people who know him were hyped, because he actually does look like a really cool character. But, like, don't even tell me that nobody remembers the X-Men, and you bring out fucking Jedha. Like... I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm happy he's here, but like that just makes the X-Men excuse look all the more hollow.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I guess.
And also, Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Well, that's kind of a given how popular Guardians is.
Yeah, no, but the funny thing about that is Guardians of the Galaxy, like became immensely popular since the first movie and now the second movie. Like the first movie really took off, but the thing with the Guardians of the Galaxy is that movie was like, from what I've heard, easy to get the rights to because. Even by comic book nerds' standards, it was very obscure. Like, very obscure. And they're like, you know what, we're going to make a movie of this. Like, that was a ballsy move, honestly. Like, that was like, are you sure, man? Like, we know who Captain America is, but Guardians of the Galaxy... And now it's popular, but, like, like now that it is popular, I guess it's safe to bring in Gamora. But again, like, Jedha... And, like, if they had brought in Gamora a while ago, they would have gotten rage. Because Marvel vs. Capcom 3 did get rage. When they brought in Rocket Raccoon.
No, they got rage with MODOK.
They did too, yeah. But with Rocket Raccoon, everyone was like, who the hell's Rocket Raccoon? And then, like, he actually was an awesome character in that game. And everyone's like, oh, okay. But it was like, Rocket Raccoon, like, everybody, like, all of a sudden, like, the whole internet Googled Rocket Raccoon, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, at least some comic nerds know who MODOK is, but, like, Rocket Raccoon, what? Like, only now that Guardians of the Galaxy is popular does Gamora, like, immediately get a free pass. Because, like, oh, I saw both movies, super cool. It's just, like certain decisions, like, Gamora, as a decision to add to the game, makes perfect sense at this point. But, like, again, I'm still harping on Jedha versus no Wolverine of all people, you know? Like, come on.
I mean, I think I'm harping less over that fact, more over their excuse.
Yeah,
that is a bad excuse.
Really
just you really can just come out there and say it's a company issue. Like, we don't like it, but we understand and we also believe you. Like, I remember for what was it? What in the world was it? It was Mortal Kombat versus DC. I mean, the game actually came out and everything, so this isn't quite a fair comparison to make. But I remember they were just saying, the devs were just saying, oh, well, we don't have any, like, horribly brutal fatalities in Mortal Kombat versus DC because of DC. You know, like, they don't want to see their characters being horribly maimed. And, like, that does make sense, even if you wanted to see it in a Mortal Kombat game, but, like, okay, I get it. You know, like, that's why that game was rated...
T.
I forgot if that...
T.
It was rated T? Yeah. And, like, for Mortal Kombat, like, that's unheard of. But, like, again, look, you have the game... Take it or leave it, you know, and I understand your rationale. Like, I would have hoped for of a Mortal Kombat level violent game, but, like, I understand. Like, if you had just said, look, man, it's been well established by this point that the X-Men have never been in any of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies because of the rights issues, we already know that this is a thing. You could have just said that. We'd be like, all right, like, I don't like it, but, like, especially because the X-Men have been there the whole time in every Marvel versus Capcom game.
Exactly. It started with
like,
I think,
the crossovers.
I don't like it, but I can't argue with it.
Pissed off. I think that's probably why people are pissed off too.
The crossovers started with
like
Street Fighter versus X-Men. That was the first crossover.
Yeah, X-Men versus Street Fighter. Yeah, even the very beginning. Yeah. Like, the only time they weren't in a versus game was probably like Capcom versus SNK because it's just not Marvel, you know.
But
yeah, you could have just said it's rights shenanigans, and, like, again, we don't like it, but we generally understand, and if we don't, well, then we learned something today. Like, don't try hand-waving it with, like, hey, you know those endless X-Men movies that come out? No one knows who any of them are. Like, the thing with those movies is that, like, again, going back to the Guardians of the Galaxy, do you know why any of us know who they are? Because you showed us who they are. Because in that same article where the guy was saying, oh, the X-Men are kind of out, people don't remember them, like, now, like, he mentioned Black Panther in particular. He was like, well, now Black Panther. I'm like, no. Like, I know that he was in Civil War and he was a super badass. I know that they're making a Black Panther movie. We've seen trailers, also look super badass. But let's be totally honest here. Aside from comic book fans, did the mainstream audience really know who Black Panther was? Like, I've heard the name. That's about as good as I can go. Like, but he's, like, but people who know who Black Panther is now because they put him in a movie. Like, oh, it's a Marvel movie? Well, I like the Marvel movies. Oh, turns out Black Panther's cool because he showed up in that movie I was watching with other characters I like, but now I've seen him and I like him too. Guess what? Now I know who Black Panther is. You know, now I know who Guardians of the Galaxy are because it ties into the MCU. Like, if you want us to know who the X-Men are, put them in your game and we'll figure it out. Wolverine's the guy with the claws. I can tell because when I press the attack button, he swings his claws around. You know, it's not that hard. Again, like, super lame excuse.
Yeah, totally.
Sorry, I went on for way too long with it.
Oh, well, this is a rumor, so, like, kind of just take it, like, you know, kind of lightly. But, apparently, like, Namco Bandai is planning, like, other guest characters. Like, they're not done with them. So there's a rumor going on that Sega's representative will be, like, Kazuma Kiryu. So I think...
That would be amazing.
I think that's a perfect fit, too.
I actually saw a lot of people saying that they would really love to have seen him, Kazuma Kiryu, in Tekken. That would have been interesting. Because, like, he's been begging to be in a fighting game for a while now. And, he was also in Project Cross Zone. Not exactly a fighting game, but, like, one step at a time, you know? But like, it would be cool to see him in an actual fighting game.
Okay, I guess that's it for Evo.
Yeah, I could easily see him using, like, you know, a knife he picks up. And, like
Cody?
Yeah, no, not even picking it from the ground. I guess it could be like Cody, but I was picturing more like Jill Valentine or like Frank West, where just like incidental things from his game like happen to him. It's like, oh look, here's a baseball bat, and he swings it and throws it away. But when you do the move again, he just picks up a new one and swings it. You know, that kind of stupid shenanigans. Like Frank West can summon like a shopping cart whenever he wants. You know, something like that. But I can totally see Kiryu picking up all sorts of stupid stuff and hitting you with it, like a store sign or something.
Yeah, but I think it would be a perfect fit because, like, you know, Tekken also has like wall combos, so he could do his like wall heat moves as a special, like, you know.
Oh,
move.
that is true. But in Marvel vs. Capcom, though, if he does show up in it, I wonder what his super move would be. It probably would be like
wait, hold up. Marvel vs. Capcom, Kazuma Kiryu, different companies.
Oh, that's right.
I was talking about Tekken.
He's Sega. Oh, my bad. It was Tekken. My bad. I blew it.
Idiot.
Yeah, if he does, if he does show up, though,
cut
Tekken
that out.
would be great. Nah, keeping it. But no, if he does show up in Tekken, though, that would be that'd be fantastic. Not to mention, it'd be great to see him looking like in glorious, you know, PS4 HD. I mean, I guess we're gonna get that with Yakuza 6 anyway. With Yakuza 0, from what I've heard, it was basically like a PS3 game on the PS4. So like, it does probably look a little better than a PS3 game, but it's not really realizing the system's full potential. Yakuza 6 probably will do that. But if he shows up in Tekken 7 first, sign me up. You know, I'll be more than happy to see that.
All right.
He's also a severely badass individual who just takes no crap.
We've been going on with the Evo and like fighting game stuff for a while, so why don't we change the subject?
Why? Sure. So yeah, Pyro, I believe you had some stuff to bring up.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of things. So ComicCon went on. I think it went on last weekend.
Yeah.
It's been going on for a while. So this is just going to be a lot of little things that I noticed that we can either talk about or not, but just let's see where we go. So the first thing that I want to mention is, I don't know do either of you watch Doctor Who?
No.
No, I've never... Well, that actually is the joke in the show.
And actually, one of the showrunners came out and said that Doctor Who is his actual name.
Are you serious?
What?
Yes. And then
I thought the
funny.
whole gimmick was like on the Doctor. They'd be like Doctor Who, and it's like gets a little laugh out of it.
But it's funny because he said like that's the name, but also like that it might not be, because what is Doctor Who without a contradiction?
Oh, touche.
But big news
yeah,
I wanted to
I've never
say
seen...
is the new Doctor has been announced, and it's actually a woman.
Yeah,
so
for the first
really
time
cool.
in like 50 years, I think.
Yeah.
First time in ever. It's never been a woman.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, how old is the show? From like the 60s?
Like really old. That's
really old. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's first ever female doctor, which I think is really cool, especially since I don't remember her name, but she's a really good actor.
Jodie Whittaker.
Yeah, and she's a really good actress, so this could be really cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know what? Yeah, like it's really cool to see, and honestly, it's a wonder it hasn't happened a long time ago, because I've never seen a single episode except for like the 2 or 3 minute super famous sequence from Blink with the statues. But from what I've heard in the lore, the Doctor, like, we have not had 11 or 12 doctors. We have had one Doctor played by 11 or 12 or however many different actors. Like, the Doctor regenerates into a different form every time, and apparently the lore establishes it could be anything. Like, it could be a man or woman. Apparently this has been established a long time ago. They've just never actually done a woman.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know when that was introduced into the lore, but I have to say that I know that we might say, I'm surprised it didn't happen earlier, but we all know why it didn't happen earlier.
Oh no, of course we know why, but it could have happened. Like,
yes,
you know, this entire time, or at least for a very long time. Yeah, but it's super cool. I mean, like, better late than never. So, like, it's really cool to see that it is happening, and like the hype was real. So like, it's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out.
The hype was real, but so was the backlash with like for some reason.
Well, because there's always people who are
people like what they're used to.
Yeah, I was gonna say like ignoring the people who might be sexist. It's people don't like change.
That's the whole thing. Like Peter Capaldi, but he's old, and now he's like everyone's favorite Doctor. Every latest Doctor is everyone's favorite Doctor. Like, just give it time. Yeah. So, you know, it'll always happen, and it'll always be fun, and there will always be someone who is like, oh, David Tennant was the best Doctor. Oh, Peter Capaldi was the best Doctor. Jodie Whittaker was the best Doctor. Like, just wait till the next Doctor comes out, and everyone will be like, oh, but will this person be better than Jodie Whittaker? Like every single time. I've seen the same thing happen with Zelda games. I saw this like a 4chan post like making fun of this. Like, every time a new Zelda game comes out, oh, come on, how come you couldn't have made it just like the last Zelda game, which I hated when it came out? Like, you
Final
know,
Fantasy does that too.
Yeah.
You know, the most like
yeah, it's because people like to force their opinions on others. So it's like, how could you like so and so? He's the worst Doctor. It's like, yeah, that's your opinion.
That's the thing. Better and worse are opinions, which are by definition not right or wrong. You could have an informed opinion, but it's like, if I like him, I like him. What do you want from me? Like, are you gonna make me not like him? Come on. Yeah, you have to get. I mean, you could. We have to try pretty damn hard.
Yeah, it's funny because like Wind Waker is like the best example of that, because everyone's like, when they first saw it, was like, what is this cartoony BS?
Oh, I was right up there. Yeah. I was right there with them, because I had seen one of those, like, it was just an Ocarina of Time kind of still, but it was like rendered like on GameCube style graphics, and I was like, god damn, I can't wait for that game to come out, whatever that is. And the Wind Waker cartoon look, oh, it turned me off so much. And when I actually started playing it, because I saw my brother playing a little bit of, like, I'll try it, and I actually ended up really enjoying it. Yeah, surprise.
It actually became like one of like the best Zelda games like ever.
Yeah, it had some major flaws, but the HD re-release took care of a lot of them, including the slow sailing regaining Triforce segment part, because that was by far the slowest part of the entire game. And I forgot if they changed that part or if they removed it entirely, but like it was for the best by a lot. Like, it was one of those like good decisions. So Wind Waker is even better with the new release.
Yeah, and then the next thing I wanted to mention, which I don't know if Mr. Ryu, you saw this, but Stranger Things Season 2, there was a trailer for that.
Oh, I did not see this trailer.
Yeah. Have you seen Season 1?
Yeah, I have. Yeah. I loved it.
Okay.
It was great.
Yeah. So I can't wait to... It comes out in on Halloween, I believe, and I can't wait to binge watch it.
Oh, it's too spooky. I don't want to watch it anymore. It's scary.
You know, I gotta say, I have not seen the trailer for Season 2 because I actively avoided it because I just want to take in the show. But I gotta say, like, I'm gonna say the same thing now that I said when I finished Season 1. I'm sure that Season 2 is gonna be great, and I am genuinely hyped. I really, really am. But the name of the show and the fact that Season 1, it left room for a Season 2, but, like, at the same time, the majority of the problem was dealt with in some way or another. I was kind of hoping that Stranger Things would be an anthology series, where Season 2 is just completely different. It's just like, now there's this thing.
It's just a continuation of, like, Season 1.
I was hoping
it's probably going to be a continuation, yeah. Like, on one hand... Yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was hoping that they didn't have that scene with the one character at the end of Season 1 That
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
I know what you're
where
talking
exactly
about.
what
It was
you're
like,
that could have continued to season 2. I kind of wish they didn't put that in and just kind
Yeah.
of ended the story, and then season 2 was like another like you said, like an
Yeah.
anthology. But yes,
Even a
this
different
continues it.
cast.
Yeah.
Even a different cast in a different town, because how much shit can happen in the same town. But like at the same, but this is one of those cases where I suspect it's a case where I wish they did not make a continuation of the story. But when I watch it, I'm sure it's going to be like an amazing continuation of the story. So it's like, well, you know what? All right. I'm curious to see where they go with it, and I wonder if they're gonna. I don't know. Like season 1 was very, very reminiscent of Steven Spielberg's movie E.T. and Stephen King's It, both the book and the original
so
movie.
it's 8.
Yes.
E.I.T..
Like
Sorry.
I've only seen I think I've only seen pieces of E.T., or if I have seen the whole thing, it was a million years ago. But man, the It references really hit me in the face. I'm wondering if season 2 is going to do that, or if it's going to be inspired by other material, or be totally original.
If you really think about it, season 1 was inspired by a lot more than just It and E.T.
No,
it's
it was,
there's
but I mean,
tons
it
of
was
pop
all
culture
over the
references,
place.
etc. So I think that, like,
Even
if you
Elfin
think about
Reed.
in the trailer that I saw, there's Ghostbusters references. There was the music was
yeah.
Thriller.
Nice.
They were playing Dragon's Lair.
Really?
There's just tons of references, so I'm pretty sure
that's cool.
that maybe the overarching story might be reminiscent of Stephen King again or something like that. But
that's what I mean.
There's just
Like,
tons
it
of pop
was
culture
like
references.
You know, I mean, in season 1 there were references as well, but I'm talking about E.T. and it being like the plot of season 1, like where it was like they're going through the motions of it, because remember that movie and how nostalgic that felt, and they did a damn good job with it. So I'm wondering if season 2 is going to follow a plot line like some other classic story like that. So I'm curious to see where it goes.
Yeah. So another thing that I wanted to mention just is a show that I watched actually a lot in the 90s, and I have no idea why they're bringing it back. The show was never that popular, so they're bringing back Rocko's Modern Life.
Oh, it was never that popular? I thought.
I thought it. I never thought it was that popular. Like, it was on Nickelodeon, and it was a decent show, but I never thought it had enough people who watched it.
Yeah. Like, I didn't have Nickelodeon, so I missed all this stuff.
Yeah, so I mean the trailer, I guess you could say that they put on out on ComicCon, was like Rocco now in a new modern life, you could say. Like, it's this modern times now, where like cell phones and Starbucks and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
I will say this, like I did watch that trailer, and even though I barely have context, I have a little, but barely context with the old show, I gotta say, number one, I really enjoyed that trailer, and I do know that they brought all the old voice actors back, but also so many of the comments were saying that, like, it felt really on point. Like, this could have been an old episode, except that it takes place in 2017 or something.
Yeah, I kind of feel similar and different, similar in the sense that I did feel like it felt reminiscent of the old show, like both the art and the voice actors, etc. But the comedy and whatever didn't really do it for me.
A lot of the comedy was kind of like making fun of the 21st century.
Yeah, and I'm like,
where it's like you're getting overloaded with technology and commercialized bullshit. Like, they were pushing that angle, but
they're trying to do the same humor that they did back in the day, which, well, some people will still enjoy, but I moved past that, I guess. The other thing,
you aged, but the show didn't.
Yeah, the other thing that I realized, though, after watching that trailer was this was kind of the kiddie version of Ren and Stimpy.
I can see that, and there were a lot of, like, I've seen those, like, top 10 things you didn't know. Like, I've seen a bunch of, like, stealth adult humor in Rocko's Modern Life. So, like, whereas Ren and Stimpy, they just go full out with the depravity.
Oh yeah, that's not a kid's show.
Even when I was, like, in my late teens or, like, early 20s or whatever, I caught part of an episode of Ren and Stimpy, and while it was funny, I found it, like, very difficult to sit through. Like, it was like, not because it was a bad show, but it was, like, just uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
That show was brutal.
I used to watch it a lot, actually, with Vice when I lived in the same town as him, when we probably shouldn't have been watching it. But
they did not fuck around on that show.
Yeah, but I remember it was, like, really weird, and he used to have Powdered Toast Man comics.
Yeah.
And even those, like, I could never read them because I mean, I read them, but I never really enjoyed them that much, just because that wasn't my kind of humor.
I gotcha. Yeah, a lot of it really was just like, it's a little hard to describe. I mean, some of it was just gross, but other stuff was just like the episode where they were trying to like outdo each other with like who could like harm themselves or like cause the most immediate pain. It's just like, goddamn guys, both of you, just like freaking call it a draw or something. Like I can't even watch this anymore. Like it's just brutal, and that's the point. But it's such a rough set.
Yeah, and then also talking about other '90s shows, they are bringing back The Tick, not as a cartoon though, live action again. I don't know if you ever watched the live action that came out like a few years ago.
No, I heard it was all right, but it just didn't catch on.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to explain it. Like, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. It did well enough that it maybe... I don't even know if it finished its first season before it got canceled, but it just wasn't as good as they were expecting.
Is the Tick still going to be played... what was this? Is the Tick still going to be played by Patrick Warburton? Because that'd be hilarious.
I don't know, actually.
Honestly, I doubt it if I just had to take a blind guess, but...
From what I've heard, the stuff they've been showing for the new one is actually really good. Okay. I haven't watched the newest trailer for that, let's say, but it's going to be on Amazon Prime. Like, it's an Amazon exclusive.
Okay.
But people are saying that it harkens back to the old days of the Tick, so that could be good.
You know, even the cartoon I never watched, but I heard it was also really good. But I think, like, honestly, I think the reason I didn't watch the cartoon might have been the reason the live action one didn't catch on, is people saw commercials and you're like, this looks weird or something. It just kind of didn't bother.
Well, the thing about this one though is like you won't see it on commercials. It'll just be like if you have Amazon Prime, they'll probably recommend it to you.
If you're the kind of person who wants to watch it, then you will.
Yeah. It's either you're gonna buy Amazon Prime or watch it because you have Amazon Prime, or you have Amazon Prime and you see it and you're like, wait, let's see what this is like. Like there's. But on the other hand, they're not beholden to any other producers other than Amazon. So I don't know what they're expecting about it, but they probably don't have to expect as much as if it was actually on like regular cable TV.
Okay.
And then another thing I wanted to mention, kind of 2 in 1 in a way. So first of all, Archer had a trailer for the next season. And
that's pretty cool.
Archer is Archer. I'll just put it that way.
I've only seen a couple of episodes. Like I haven't followed it. Like I've liked what I've seen, but I've seen like
Archer is great.
3 episodes.
I have a feeling you'd enjoy it.
Oh no, I would, and I do. I just don't watch it.
You should watch it. It's really good.
Because like I'm one of those people, like I don't have Netflix streaming, so I can't just be like, oh, let me just whip out season 1 right now. Like,
there are other ways of watching these shows.
Yeah, but at the same time, like even if I did have Netflix streaming, I never feel like doing that. Like
No. I mean, there are other ways of watching.
But even so, I just never. Like, I just don't feel like Netflix streaming or downloading a whole bunch of episodes. Like I almost never do that. I haven't done that since like I don't know, like Psycho Pass. And the only reason I did Psycho Pass was because I'd already watched a bunch of it with Mr. Ryu, and I was like, well, I better finish this. Like I haven't straight up like binged an anime
that just means that I have to
watch
show
on my
you
own since like Elfen Lied, like after college.
That means I just have to sit down with you and watch a few episodes of Archer, enough that you get hooked, so you have to download it when you get home.
No, even if I do, like I don't know if that's gonna happen. Like I mean, I would probably do it the way I do like House of Cards with Luminaire. Like I show up at his house, he watches like 3 episodes. Yeah, I watch like 3 episodes. I'm like, okay, that was cool. And then I see you in like a week or 2 or whenever we end up doing it again. Like I just don't binge stuff anymore. Like I'm usually just playing games or like watching my 1 episode of One Piece this week.
You're a busy man with your Let's Plays, so.
I guess, but also I just like I dick around on social media more than I like watch anime. Like I actively want to watch My Hero Academia and Little Witch Academia, and I haven't done anything about it.
I mean,
and get off the Facebooks.
Yeah, turn it off.
Yeah. I don't
wanna. But the other thing I wanted to mention with Archer is that they did a crossover with Kingsman.
Whoa.
Which was interesting.
Oh no, I saw a screenshot of that. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't actually that funny, I didn't think, but it's just funny that they did something like that.
That is highly appropriate, like 2 comically, like, come on now, seriously, like super secret agents.
Well, the Kingsman is more secret agent than Archer is. Like, Archer is comedy secret agent, whereas Kingsman is a lot more serious,
Over the
although
top
it's
secret
over the
agent,
top.
which is kind of funny. Yeah.
Yeah. But that also brings into the fact that the Kingsman 2 is coming out this year.
Yeah.
Have you
I'll
both
watch
seen
that in
Kingsman?
theaters. Yeah, I saw one in. I think it might have even been with you. I saw one in theaters, and I'll be up for seeing 2 in theaters. Like, I don't go to the theater very often, but I like Kingsman 1 a lot, so I would do Kingsman 2.
Yeah, and apparently, like, first of all, I don't know how much you've heard about Kingsman 2, but so I'm going to mention a few things. So this is all stuff that's been in the trailer, so I wouldn't consider it spoilers.
Yeah.
But if anyone cares about this being new to them, then they can jump ahead a few minutes or whatever. So apparently something happens to the Kingsmen, and they have to go get help from their American counterparts, who are called the Statesmen.
Hey, yeah, because King would make as much sense.
Yep. So there's the Statesmen, and they're like cowboy secret agents almost. Like they have, like, you know how the Kingsmen have the umbrella thing.
Yeah.
So in this, there's a whip. Like the Statesmen have a whip that they use.
That's pretty good. I kind of like that. It's like stereotypical. Like, what do people from other countries think of when they think of America?
Mm-hmm. And the villain in this one is actually kind of funny. I don't remember who the actress is, but it's kind of like an evil Martha Stewart.
Nice.
It's a person who's in terms of how the populace sees her, she's a baker and a cook and whatever, but she's also a drug dealer.
Interesting.
So she deals in cocaine, and that's like the whole point of why she's the villain and something like I don't know. It sounds really weird.
You know,
but it's usual Kingsman fashion.
Well, the funny thing is that's also like, even though you said the Kingsmen wanted the American counterparts to help, like I guess their problem, just the fact that cocaine is the enemy, that just seems like a very American problem. Mm-hmm. With the whole like war on drugs thing.
The other thing, though, that I'm hoping, like, based on some of the things I've seen in the trailer, I really hope that they don't do the same thing they did in the first one, where one of the Kingsmen or one of the Statesmen turns on them, because that would have already been done. And I feel like
you can only do that so many times. Yeah.
And I feel like that's a cliche that too many things do nowadays. Is this person's been a villain all along.
Well, no. What's also a cliche is just if there even is a twist. Like, you don't have to like keep me like just show me the movie. Like, sometimes. It's just you're entertaining enough the way you are, you know. Like you don't need to, especially if it feels tacked on. Like, the movie's over, but wait, there's this.
Yeah.
Like, dude, come on, I gotta go to the bathroom. Just give me the credits.
Yeah. So I mean, if they don't do that, then even if they do that, it's probably gonna still be a good movie. It seems really over the top already. So
although
I
will say this though, if they take a lot, like too many plot points from Kingsman, that might actually be funny by itself. Like, that might actually be like the joke. Like with Metal Gear Solid 2. Like with Metal Gear Solid 2, they're just like, they did Metal Gear Solid 1 over, basically. And at the end of the, like, so many aspects of Metal Gear Solid 1 were like, you're like, that looks awfully familiar. Haven't I done something like this before? And Metal Gear Solid 2 eventually makes it clear that, like, no, yeah, it was basically Metal Gear Solid 1, and that was kind of amusing by itself.
I mean, it might be, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Also, they showed a trailer for Westworld Season 2, which just, I don't have you, either of you seen Westworld Season 1?
Nope.
No, I haven't touched it, but I heard it was brilliant.
So I won't say anything because the trailer kind of spoils a lot that happens in the first season.
You should know by now. Yeah,
but it's really good. And I've never seen the original movie, but will say that Season 1 was really cool. And the cool thing about Season 1 is you will watch Season 1 and get to, like, the last few episodes, and then something happens that you're like, wait, I have to watch this from the beginning again.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's like a twist that you're like, wait, did they do this all along? It blew my mind when I watched it.
From what I know about Westworld Season 1, it's only the very basic premise of the park Westworld that's similar. Because in the movie, it's just straight up like, have you seen that the old episode of The Simpsons, Itchy and Scratchy Land, where all the robots try to kill them?
I have not.
Oh, it's an old episode. Yeah, they go to Itchy and Scratchy Land, which is basically Disney World, and they have all these animatronic Itchy and Scratchy characters, and then, like, a glitch in the system occurs, and they all stop fighting each other and start trying to kill the tourists, and it's like, oh my god, so we have to deal with these rogue robots. I didn't realize it at the time because it's a movie from the freaking 70s, but that episode was just straight up Westworld. Like, that's the plot.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Because, yeah, in the movie, you go to this park, oh, it'd be cool to be in a cowboy town. Oh, man. And, like, I can live like a cowboy, and I can get into duels and say, draw, and then shoot the robot because he has a gun, but he can't actually kill me. But then the robots start actually killing people. And it's like, oh, shit. Like, it's hard enough to kill a human who knows what he's doing, but these are robots. Like, oh, my God. So, like, it doesn't go into, like... I know that the Netflix show goes into or HBO or whatever it is. I know that Westworld goes into, like, the psychological, like, what does it mean to be human, and, like, are the robots transcending being robots and becoming it? And then there's the whole, like, deep thinking. Like, the movie doesn't touch that at all. It's just killer robots, deal with it. So, it's a very different experience, but I do recommend it. It's a very slow burn, but when stuff starts happening, it keeps happening.
I have wanted to watch it, so maybe I will.
It's interesting.
In addition to, all these other things I mentioned, they showed a little bit of footage. I don't know if it was footage. I just saw pictures of Pacific Rim 2.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. I like Pacific Rim 1 a lot.
Oh yeah, that's
I'm excited because giant robots.
We love giant robots.
Pacific Rim 1 was great. I remember the whole theater started laughing when they were like, "Oh my god, like there's been an EMP, like or like our computers are out, like we can't program or we can't manipulate any of our robots." And that one guy was like, "Wait, it's okay. The Gypsy Danger is analog." And the whole theater was like, "What?" It was the funniest thing. This 2-person like Evangelion unit or Evangelion. It's like it's analog. Like, what are you doing, pedaling it? Like, how does this work?
So I'm really looking forward to that. But that's really all I know about it. And there's a lot of Marvel and DC stuff. I don't really want to talk about all of it because there's so much.
Oh yeah.
The one funny thing, though, I will say is I don't know if this was announced at ComicCon, but I saw this on a post that I saw somewhere. There's a DC KFC crossover comic.
What?
That sounds amazing.
There's a DC and Kentucky Fried Chicken crossover comic.
DC's done some weird stuff, man.
Where the Colonel wants his zingers he wants everyone in the universe, in the many universes, to enjoy his zingers. And the Green Lantern Corps helps him teleport his zingers across the nation, or across the universes. And there's one page that I saw where there's like the villain of the story is trying to kill the Colonel or whatever. And then the villain goes like, "What does this smell? I recognize this smell." And then like Green Lantern says, "Yes, he's the creator of the zingers. So you better be like basically saying like don't kill him or you won't get their tasty flavor anymore."
You know what that reminds me of a lot is like, do you remember Marvel issues used to do this all the time? The old Marvel issues where it wasn't actually part of the main storyline, but after the comic was over, there'd be like a 3 to 5 page thing where it's like, I'm the villain and I'm gonna cause mischief along the city, and then Spider-Man swings in and he's like, "Now wait a minute. Now how could any villain resist the taste of Hostess fruit pie?" Like, oh, you're right. Like Dexter's Laboratory made fun of that with the Justice Friends. Yeah. Like that because like that joke landed because if you've ever read like slightly old comics in your life, like those ads were everywhere. So like the DC KFC thing sounds like an extended version of that. It's like, how could you turn down the taste of a delightful zinger? Like that's just funny to me.
Yeah, it's funny.
And the other funny thing that in that comic that I saw was because DC has all the many universes, right? There's a picture with Colonel Sanders punching an evil Colonel Sanders.
Yes.
And then he's fighting with, in another panel, Colonel Sanders from other universes. One of them is a bipedal chicken wearing the Colonel's outfit. And there's a few others that I remember that were there. That was just like, this is ridiculous. And I'm surprised that I think it's like a whole issue at least.
Well, that reminds me when Spider-Man in like the 90s cartoon teamed up with like Spider-Man wearing spider armor, the Scarlet Spider, 6-armed Spider-Man. Like, it just reminds me of stupidity like that. I would love to see, like, just Cyborg, Colonel Sanders, for no reason. Like, that would just be amusing to me.
Yeah,
but no,
so...
DC has done some funky crossovers, man. Like, what I recommend you Google I recommend you Google Batman. The whole premise wasn't versus, but there was a couple of panels. Look up Batman versus Elmer Fudd. Because
I saw that too.
What?
I saw that
I've
too.
never heard of this.
Elmer Fudd was
That was pretty recent
surprisingly
as well.
badass. It was recent, yeah.
It's a new series, I think, where the Looney Tunes characters live in the DC world, but they're not like animals.
Yeah, Bugs Bunny is just like a guy with really long buck teeth. He's not like the rabbit.
He's like a thief character. Elmer Fudd is
and Elmer
Fudd
still wants him
dead.
Luck. Yeah, it's great because there's this badass set of panels where Elmer Fudd fires his double-barreled shotgun at Batman. Batman dodges. Then Elmer Fudd like whips the gun around like over his shoulder and fires it backwards at him. And Batman's like, "Oh geez," and like dodging out. Like Elmer Fudd looks surprisingly cool in those panels. And it's like, what is this? It's kind of amazing. He's a proper hunter. He just can't kill bugs to save his life.
Yep. Yeah. So that's really cool. I'm just gonna skip over all the other Marvel DC stuff because I'm pretty sure that everyone knows about it. And either way, it's probably something we'd have to do another recon on,
sure.
just because there's so much, and it'll probably get into whole other conversations about the comics and et cetera, et cetera. So the last two things I wanted to mention, first is Star Trek Discovery, which I don't know anything about. I didn't watch the trailer yet. It's just really cool that they're bringing Star Trek back, but I don't know how good it's going to be because the last time they brought it back, it only did okay. I think it was Enterprise. Like my dad was a huge Star Trek fan.
Enterprise was not great,
and he liked Enterprise, but it was like it's not what he was expecting out of Star Trek. So I'm wondering if Discovery will have that same feeling, or if it'll actually harken back to the old days. Let's say.
Harkening back to the old days is going to be tough though, because if it's going to be anything like the previous Star Trek movies, they're going to be these big, dramatic, like cinematic experiences where it's like fire and lasers and like oh my god, and like Star Trek the old series was really about like morality tales and philosophy, like Star Trek the TV show was science fiction, and Star Trek the not the movies in general but the newer movies like the 2009 and onward
are action. Pure action.
They're science fantasy, like they're bordering into Star Wars territory. And now J.J. Abrams has actually directed freaking Star Wars and Star Trek, so like okay, a J.J. Abrams movie is going to be like a J.J. Abrams movie. I mean, there's no I get that, but Star Trek is like his Star Trek movies feel more like Star Wars, where it's like fire and laser at the enemies and it's cool, but like at the same time though, I think part of it is that culture in general has changed, where people kind of want more quick results. There are still people who like slow burns, but the Star Trek TV show, the old one, was very slow, and it was supposed to be. It was very deliberate, is the word I would use. And the new movies don't go in that direction, and they are successful at what they do, but it doesn't feel like Star Trek. It feels like Star Wars starring Star Trek characters.
I will say that one interesting thing about Discovery is they have their usual Spock, Data, whatever character.
Yeah.
But this is a new race, and apparently their race can sense death.
Interesting.
So that could get interesting. But he's like usual character where he doesn't understand human emotion and
sure.
All
You
that
always gotta have
stuff.
one.
So the last thing I wanted to mention is something that I'm looking forward to, not because it has to do with ninjas, but because it has to do with Lego. It's the Lego Ninjago movie.
I saw a trailer for that. It looks pretty funny, actually.
Seems kind of fun, yeah. And it's like the one of the characters, like the villain, is his dad, and
I saw a trailer.
the whole thing. There's a really funny scene where there's a actual cat in the scene, and he's destroying buildings.
Oh,
like
an actual cat.
It's like a giant cat, but it's like a normal sized cat, and it's just knocking down buildings. It's pretty funny.
That's kind of great. Yeah. The scene that kind of cracked me up was the dad shows up in his mysterious mask, and it's like, who is this masked man? And it was one of those like I am your father scenes, but the guy's like, what, you're never around. Just like, I tried calling you never pick up, and it's like, whatever, man. Like, I got world conquered, and it's just this awkward conversation in front of like the evil army who are just kind of like, I don't know, like, it sounds like a contrived moment, but like, I've never seen that before, and it just cracked me up.
Yeah, and it's like, part of me, I don't know anything about Ninjago, because I didn't buy any of those toys, and I didn't look at any of that, but when I first saw the Lego movie, the original one, like, I wanted to watch it because it was the Lego movie, and it was really good. I was afraid that Lego Batman would be like them trying to do too much. Like, the Lego movie was good, but let it be. Let that be a one-hit wonder kind of thing.
Apparently, Batman worked.
Batman was really good. I watched it a few times because it was so good. So I'm now very hopeful that Ninjago will also be good, and
honestly, I felt the same.
They'll
way
definitely
about the Lego...
sell toys.
Yeah, no, I felt the same way about the Lego video games because I to this day I've only played the original, like the first Lego game, like the Star Wars ones, and I was like, hey, this is actually pretty fun. But okay, Lego, we get it. Like, I understand. But like every single Lego game has just been amazing, apparently, and even better than the previous one. So it's like, well, all right, like they know what they're doing.
Yeah. So that is basically Comic-Con. I don't know if any of you have seen anything that I didn't mention or want to talk about anything again, but that's that.
Jeez, I don't really think I've gotten much exposure to the Comic-Con stuff. Like, whatever I think I would have brought up, I think you've probably already brought up yourself. So I think, at least for me, I'm caught up. Mr. B, you got anything?
Well, there's another SDCC announcement. You thought I was done with fighting games, but you're wrong.
Oh, what?
Well, they announced characters for Marvel vs. Capcom.
Oh, for Infinite?
Yeah, it's just Frank West, Spider-Man, and Hagar.
Oh, they're bringing back Frank West. Hey,
Hagar and Nemesis.
Oh, I did hear about
Hagar,
Nemesis.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, what's interesting is that who did you say? You said Spider-Man?
Spider-Man, Nemesis, Hagar. Well, Gamora was announced, but we already knew Gamora was in.
Yeah, we already knew about Gamora. Yeah, Frank West and Nemesis were... I forgot about Frank West, but I know that Nemesis was like the not DLC, but like the ultimate MVC3 specific character.
No.
Was Frank West... Yeah, wasn't Nemesis like in like the extra stuff? He wasn't in the original release, was he?
Actually, I don't remember. Because
like the game, like I think he was in Ultimate MVC3.
Ultimate came out a year like right after the original. It was like, what? Why?
No, I know, but I don't think he was in the original. I might be wrong about.
He might have been the add. Yeah, I think he was an add-on. Yes, I
am happy.
I don't remember.
Was Frank West in the original?
I don't remember.
In any case, I'm happy to see Frank West because just his stupid shenanigans again. And Nemesis is cool. If he's anything like an MVC3. He's super slow, but does, like, stupid damage.
Well, it's just recycled assets, so...
Yeah, so there you go. So I guess it will be the same. But, yeah, I mean, it's cool just because, you know, Nemesis is badass. Resident Evil 2 is my favorite Resident Evil game, but Nemesis is how you do a villain. Like, he was fun, and he was relentless. Amusingly enough, though, in the actual Resident Evil game, he was surprisingly fast. He could outright run.
Yeah.
And they just kind of dropped that for MVC because... with his power, that'd be like game breaking.
No,
it's like when
he dashes just like everyone else.
He can still dash.
It's like everyone has like a dash option, then they can like I guess wave dash.
A dash option, but when I saw you play as him, I thought he mostly was like slow though.
He was slow, but he is a dash.
Okay, well yeah, the dash is one thing, but like compared to like basic speed though, like he was more of like a lumberer. Like
he had super
makes
armor.
Me think of it. Yeah, like that's what it was because it makes me think of Potemkin in Guilty Gear Accent Core, where like. His gold version gets a dash, and now like there goes the neighborhood. Like the one thing, like the one reason you could beat him is because he couldn't dash, and now, yeah, I forgot about Nemesis. I'm kind of hyped for that alone. I wonder if he's going to be in like the story because I will say I love how just masturbatory the story is because like with Marvel vs. Capcom 1 through 3 they didn't do like a real story mode. They had arcade endings for each character, but like with Infinite. I like that they do this, but it's very, like, self-indulgent, where they're like, oh, man, this is going to be hard. Go get him, Arthur. Like, okay, I will, Chun-Li. And, like, there's all sorts of, like, just hearing characters mention each other's names. It's like,
okay. You know in the story...
games.
Yeah. Okay, you know the story mode that, like, you know, demo that you could download? I laughed so hard when Chris shot Ultron in the back. It just like does nothing. It's like you're going down, Ultra Sigma. Yeah. I was like, way to go, Chris! You're gonna stop Ultron, who's apparently a bioterrorist, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Now the part that cracked me up was when Arthur said to Thor, like, "Oh man, you're pretty good, even if you are a heathen god." And I'm just like, "Wow, dude! Like he actually is a god. He's standing right the hell in front of you, like." Obviously, Arthur's god is legit because he gets all those powers in his game, but it's like, dude, he is, like, Thor's right there, and he's swinging his hammer and everything. It's just, like, shots fired by Arthur, and Arthur's, like, what is he, like, knee high?
Yes.
Or maybe waist high? Like, he is small. Like, I know Arthur's always the little guy, but, like, damn, he is short in this game.
That's funny. But, yeah. That's it, I guess.
Yeah, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, get hype.
What hype? Everyone's, like, more hype for Dragon Ball Z fighters.
I know. Oh, that reminds me. Another Evo announcement is Trunks is coming out for Dragon Ball Z Fighters.
Yeah, and so is Piccolo and Krillin.
Oh, hey, because everyone loves Trunks.
Oh, by the way, the tiers are gonna be like,
especially when I go to the pool.
Yes. Well, I mean, you probably know this, but that is the significance of Trunks' name. Like, his whole family is named after their underwear.
I know.
I mean,
Yeah.
character power levels actually kind of matter in the game. So, like, some like Krillin, it's like gonna be weaker than some of the other ones, but still playable. But they're gonna balance.
Are they gonna have Tianxin Han, the world's strongest human?
Oh yes, the world's strongest human. So they're gonna balance it out, like with the stronger characters you can't tag in as often, and like user assist as often, and the weaker characters you can use like more often.
That's a decent idea actually. Yeah. So I guess you got like
because they said like it's like
management.
Game mechanic wise, it will just feel wrong if like Krillin was a top tier character and can beat like Super Saiyan Goku.
Yeah, no, yeah. One thing, by the way, that I got a kick out of is I think the demo at ComicCon only had the Japanese voices at the time.
They still do.
They still do?
It's a Japanese game.
No, I know, but I mean, DBZ, like, we've had the dub actors, like, pushed really hard. Like, a lot of new anime, it's like, oh, I'll watch it in Japanese, like One Piece or whatever, but, like, Dragon Ball Z has always been in English for Americans, like, almost always. So, like, I just this is such a little thing. But I'm just hyped about hearing Norio Wakamoto reprising his role as Cell, because he is so fun. Like anything he does where he gets to scream, it's like the best. Because like Norio Wakamoto had been a prolific actor even before Dragon Ball Z, but I think his role as Cell is what like really put him on the map. Because everyone's like, oh, he's that guy who did Cell, and like you might have heard Wakamoto before yourself if you've watched Ultimate Hellsing. He was Alexander Anderson. He was.
May the Lord be with you, Jesus Christ. Something like that.
Amen. But he was also in the name of Jesus Christ. That was the clunkiest English. He was also like the principal in Azumanga Daioh. I forgot the old guy's name, but in Code Geass.
Yeah, Lelouch. No, not Lelouch. It's like King Britannia. King Britannia.
Yeah, the King of Britannia. That was.
And like he's also known since Capcom vs SNK 2 series as M. Bison. And it just fits him way. Yeah, it fits him way well, so they just kept him as Bison.
Psycho Crusher! And he was also Yoshimitsu from Soul Calibur 4, I think, because he was clearly somebody different in Soul Calibur 3. So I think starting at 4. So Wakamoto's been a lot, and just look him up. Just look up on YouTube Norio Wakamoto, and you'll probably get like Cell immediately. And it's just fun to hear. It really is. So yeah, shout out to Norio Wakamoto.
Okay.
But otherwise, that's the show for this week. Please remember to subscribe to the Corrective Consciousness YouTube and Soundcloud pages. While there, please give us thumbs up, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. It helps us promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement keeps the show going. You could also catch us on Tuesday for our sister podcast, Corrective Consciousness, the podcast about our lives in pop culture. Finally, Vice has not been here this week, but you can catch him as Vice the Bold on various, Steam, PSN, Xbox Live, and Twitter. You can catch me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. Catch me on Twitter as well, at Lotus Prince, all one word. And if you would like to see my videos early, get in on exclusive streams, or choose upcoming Let's Plays that I do, then perhaps consider checking out my Patreon, patreon.com/Lotus Prince.
And you can find me as PyroJackFrost or Cloudoid540 on most gaming places such as Battle.net, Steam, PSN, yada yada yada.
And I am Mr. Ryu, 45 on most gaming platforms. It's MR_Ryu45. If you ever feel like, I don't know, playing me, I guess. I don't know.
And Old Man Stompy is also available as Old Man Stompy where he wishes to be found.
I don't want to find him.
So, yeah, maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, thank you very much for listening this week. Until next time, everyone.
Bye, everyone.